she's not gonna fight against, because that happened. It's gonna be other things she's gonna list, but it ain't gonna be what she was lacking of. We ain't gonna hear that.
Don't you want to respond, Sean?
I mean, I don't really know what there is to respond to. My argument was always that I saw value in the things that Carla brought to the table. And I saw Juan as being somebody that was fake and disingenuous and not really going through the process. That was my argument. So I'm really not sure what we're supposed to be relitigating here. They clearly weren't a match. Um, so yeah. I never said, oh, he should be with her. That was never my fight. I just said I think I like Carla. I saw value in her. I liked her takes. I liked how she stood on business. She told it like it was. She seems to have a good level of discernment. She seemed to be a fun person. So those are the things that I liked about her, and I saw value beyond the things that she was lacking. I never thought like, oh yeah, you know, it's great that she doesn't have a place, but I did see like clearly she's been sustaining herself prior to this, and you guys were pitching that, oh, she just needs Juan for a come up, when she still didn't choose him and he didn't choose her, and she's just fine. I said, we were talking about her business and the fact that the type of business she has is one that she can sustain herself and continue to take care of herself. And from everything that we've seen, she's doing just that.
I, I don't think we've ever been. I don't think we've ever said that she can't take care of herself. I just don't think that she can take care of. I don't think she's in the position to be a wife or um, a potential mother to your kids, or somebody that you can feel like comfortable with starting a family. And that was the biggest issue I had with Carla. I think everybody picked her as their favorite, maybe whenever, and it started to flip when started to show that she had some chinks in her armor. But it seemed that everybody had picked her to be the favorite. And I'm like, do y'all not see what I see? Because I see like somebody who obviously has the looks that could attract or should be able to attract pretty much anybody, but it might be more mental than anything. And then the more she kind of peel back the layers, and like I said, episode 5, hour and 7-8 minutes in, it started to unravel, and I'm like, oh, Carla, this isn't somebody that you deal with, or she doesn't have that yet. She's emotionally intelligent, but I think also nowadays we over-index that the same way as a lot of guys tend to over-index their logical sense, or the logical aspects that we might rely on when we're dating or in life or anything like that. And that was just my issue with Carla. It just seemed like everybody, you can't say anything negative about her. And Juan, he played the game. He tried to keep his image clean, but whenever you do anything wrong to the people's favorite, you're always going to get drugged through the mud. And so it just happened to be what it was.
Also, I think it's interesting that we're having a viewpoint that we don't feel he came onto the show to find a wife. I can say the same thing about Carla. What part of her was really coming to find a husband? The instability of her behavior. How can I say that she came to find a husband? I don't question his. I don't think he's done anything to question so that we can question whether he really wants to find a wife. If he did not find her attractive and did not like her, it is the same as I had no problem with Michelle saying no to David. The issue was the way she treated him. So that was my issue with it. You know what I'm saying to you? Could they have spoken a bit more? Well, I was expecting Carla to speak up a bit more and call it out and get experts to call it out, but she decided to play along the game too. She decided to play along and make it nice and make it smooth for each of them, right? So if it really was an issue, she should have spoken up a bit more and said, listen, these are real big issues and we are not getting along. At one point, she might have done that, but she stopped and she decided to go along with the train and went along with it. So how are we able to put, and that's what I'm saying about you, Sean, I'm saying to you, how are you able to put that on Juan and say you don't feel like he came for the show, he didn't come for a wife? What behaviors did you see? So that I can understand, because right now I don't. That's what we gave you pushback last time, because this feels like it's like you're pushing back on Juan, and I don't get why. Because I'm like, what is the pushback here? Okay, he didn't come for a wife, he came for the show. What behavior says that he came for the show and not for a wife? That's what I'm thinking. That's why we were pushing back on you again. So why I was just saying, I know you might not know why we're having a conversation. It's because for the last few weeks we've been having pushback, and it's like we're giving Carla such a pass. Yet the things that have been listed so far, and again, I'm always open for it because it may come out that he's just lying, right? It may just come out that he's still lying and he's a liar. It could be. But all the things that he listed, there ain't nothing that she brought to the table. What did she bring to the table apart from air? And air, the air's being consumed. So what does she bring to the table at this point as a partner to say that this is somebody who took experiment seriously? You know what I'm saying to you? Hopefully you get what I'm saying to you.
Like we've all said from the beginning, this show, when you come on Married at First Sight, you know that you're going to get somebody that has things that can be worked on. And the idea is that during the 8 weeks that you're together, you do things to physically work. You bend and flex. You try to get to know the person. You bring out issues that you may see that are things that are that don't align with you. And then you talk them out. You flesh them out. You give the person a chance to work on them. And those weren't things that Juan did. And then you also come into it with a mind state of flexibility. And when you go into a marriage, you know that it's not, it's not, the other person on the other end is not perfect. Especially you go on Married at First Sight, you sign vows, you're literally tied to the person. So, hey, you are trying to work through your challenges. You are literally going through that process of a trial marriage to see it work. And he never gave any opportunity to do that. He just coasted along and did things on the surface. But listen, I don't need to sell you on my opinion, just the same way you're not going to sell me on mine. I don't see this as some, oh my God, this is wonderful. Juan wrote a comment in the YouTubers comment section. Just the same way if Carla wrote a comment section, I wouldn't be jumping up in the aisles to bring that to you to say, hey, look, this proves my point. Look, we all have different POVs on how the situation played out. Chances are there's nothing you could say that's going to change my mind and vice versa. This is my POV.
Every week we have this conversation. We have these conversations, though. It's not about necessarily the whole point of the debate is that we are just stating our points. We clash every time. When you disagree, you're not really trying to change. You're not really trying to change our mind. You're stating your opinion. So that's why we're not trying to change your mind necessarily. We're trying to have that conversation as boys, as we're talking. This is what we're doing. You said this before, and I'm said to you, bro, we're just going back and forth with each other because that's how it is. Like you said some statements which have spoken against against Juan, and I've said, well, I don't see you holding that same smoke for the Carlians, and that's what I was saying to you. So if you say something, I'm gonna jump on it, say, okay, well, bro, you're saying these things, but I don't see the same smoke. That's what I said to you. You use an example, for instance, right? Okay, he didn't want to work on the marriage. So then did Michelle come on the show just to be on the show? Did she come for the marriage? Because as far as I'm concerned, she didn't work on nothing. So did she come for the marriage? Would you say that she came for the marriage, Sean?
No, I don't think she came to maps with the right mindset because she was very inflexible.
So did she come for marriage, or she just find someone that she didn't like?
She was very inflexible, and I think she wrongly entered into the maps process.
So was she fake?
I don't know.
Because that's why we're holding you. Because
Juan,
you
I
see
mean,
your
Kojo,
energy for
like
Juan. No. That's why
I'm
we're holding you, bro.
I really like having these conversations are annoying. It's annoying because you want to take two different people and you want to compare them. Juan and Michelle are two different scenarios, two different marriages. Juan what Juan did and what Michelle did are two different things. So making them equate means nothing. Like, I don't understand, like, what kind of victory dance do you want to have here? If you want to celebrate and you want to be vindicated, be vindicated. Feel good. Feel good that you were right. You guys had a right take. I really don't care. Like, it's becoming annoying because it's like every week you want to try to prove something when I just don't think there's anything to prove. It's my POV. I feel like Juan was very opportunistic in his pursuits of Married at First Sight. And this comment to me proved just that. because he passive aggressively addressed these comments that he had about Carla and then says at the end of it, I still like her. I still think she's a great person. While you literally just trashed her. So this just shows to me how disingenuous he is. You're not going to see it that way. You guys want to see him as vindicated. You want to see, hey, we've been right all along. I don't feel that way.
It to me, it doesn't have to do with any of them. It's about what you said. You're not holding Michelle and saying that she's fake for her initial entrance into the experiment and how she conducted herself. Whereas you will say that about Juan, and that's, I think the biggest issue is that it seems like you're moving the goalposts now. It's like now it's the people, but it's what you said. You said Juan's fake and he's disingenuous and et cetera, et cetera. Meanwhile, Michelle isn't fake or disingenuous or anything like that. And they didn't come here with the best intentions or even prepared to be on the show or conduct the experiment how it should have been.
That's all we say.
I'm not moving a goalpost because I didn't create the goalpost. I didn't create an equivalence between Michelle and Juan. Kojo did. And then tried to ask me to have the same measurement for Michelle that I did for Juan. And I said they are two different people. Two different people with two different outcomes. I did concede, and I said, if you're listening, I said, I think Michelle came into the process wrongly. She didn't do the same things that Juan did. But I did think she came into the process wrongly because I feel like when you come on at Married at First Sight, you should be giving the person that's put in front of you a shot and a chance. And you should come into it with an open mindset because you are being matched with a complete stranger. So on that basis, yes, she didn't come into the process with the right attitude.
So I didn't fight you on that point, Sean. And that's that. I think the reason why we have a back and forth is because for the past few weeks, when we made some points about Juan, you contradicted it and said about Carla. And I said, no, that's not how we feel about Carla's situation. We had a whole panel where we put ourselves on two different sides. So we've had two different opinions. We're not, by the way, we're not trying to like insult your opinion or anything like that. We're merely just stating that you just did it right now. When you started talking about, not like now, but when you start talking about Juan, that's why me and Ethan looked at each other. It was like, when you spoke about Juan, you are able to say he's fake. And I said to you, well, then, if that is the case, would you say the same thing for Michelle? Because she did not come onto the show with the right intentions. It is the labels that you label onto the men. That's why I was laughing and saying, see, David's no longer in the basement. So are we going to change it now? Carla has got no house. Are we going to call her a homeless individual? So that's why I was saying, I was like, you have a lot more smoke for the man. You know what I'm saying? To you, like,
yes,
and I've got no
and
problem
I don't
with that.
understand why you guys want to put your cape on for men. I don't understand why you feel the incessant
It's not
need
all.
to vindicate men and try to defend them.
No,
So what? And Ethan, when do you ever uplift a woman on this
I
panel?
am trying to dismantle the
No.
patriarchy.
Get out of here,
That
Ethan.
entails that
Don't
there
insult
needs
my
to be
intelligence,
there has to be
please.
equality
Please.
on all
The
sides,
last thing you
because
can do is insult my intelligence. Okay? Don't
that
insult my
means you have to
intelligence.
dismantle both sides. You
Then I
can't
will
just
be. I'm not mad now, but you try to insult my intelligence, that will make me angry. Kojo, please let him know. I know you feel like you got your little bro that's gonna, you're gonna get together and prove your points, but please let him know insulting my intelligence is not a road that we
I
want
don't
to
think he's
go
trying to
down.
insult your intelligence. I don't think he's trying to insult your
no.
intelligence. He has a different point. See, that's what I'm trying to say
No,
to
no,
you.
no,
See, you're
no,
doing it
no.
again, Sean.
Kojo,
You
stop it.
label.
He
He's not
said,
insulting your intelligence.
no, he
He's
did.
not.
Stop. Listen to me. He just said he's trying to dismantle the patriarchy. That's insulting my intelligence, not his opinion. Not his opinion.
Sean, we've said this
He's
plenty
being.
of times behind
Yeah.
closed doors. I always think that when we dismantle something and we build something up, we're just creating a different evil. And I think that what we're doing is doing that. When we talk about these issues or talk about any issue at all, and we're talking about whether it be men who are in power, what we typically do is let's strip men of power, let's strip any power structure of any power, and we build up the minority in the opposite way. And that, I think, is just as detrimental as anything. So what I say is, hey, dismantle all of it, call both sides. If David's dusty for being homeless and a basement dweller, we're gonna call Carla basement dusty for being homeless and having Juan move her stuff in there and not knowing how to cook or anything like that. But hey, what you like to do is you like to me, it seems like you kind of cape, and I'm like, bro, no, you should just call them out. Both of them are dusty. But she like, nah, Carla ain't dusty. Only person dusty is David.
let's be honest here. It is obvious that Sean he holds more weight towards men because he sees men as leadership roles. We have to take charge. If you're going to take charge, you got to take majority of the blame. I understand that. I understand that it's primarily my role in society as well. But one thing that I've always been and we've been trying to do, if you want us to treat people equally or you want equal treatment, then some of this is what comes with it. I am an equal opportunist smoke giver or praise giver. I have gone against men when I see them do something wrong. I've gone against women when I see them do something wrong. I keep it fair. I've always kept it fair. In this instance, Carla has been showing certain things that we have been pointing out since the beginning that I said was problematic. Not saying nothing bad against her. I didn't say she was trash at any point in time. I just said, nah, there's some things that is not going to work. It wouldn't work for me personally. I can tell it's not going to work for Juan because some of the stuff he pointed out in the beginning, it was not her. It wasn't a match. And then we flipped it around. It was the same thing in reverse to Carla. Juan was really a match for her to a certain extent. Wasn't a match for her. Now, this whole idea of we caping for men, that kind of hit me a little bit. I was like, when personally have I ever caped for any of these dudes on the show? Because I'm need to point that out personally. Because when David needed smoke, I gave him smoke. The only thing I said about him was in the beginning, he at least was into Michelle. He was trying. She did not warn him for the first day she met him. Now, the only thing that he should be guilty of is how he carried on with Madison this whole time and how he treated Alan because they were supposedly friends. So we want to get on him about that? Cool. Y'all want to get on him about this basement situation? Yeah, I pointed towards in the beginning. It was a bad look. Other people decided to dwell on it for weeks, kept dwelling on it. I kept saying, listen, according to him, he was down in the basement to help his family out and to help him when his parents was going through some medical issues. That's what reason why he was home. Now you look, homeboy's out of the house. Yeah, he laid up with Madison, but either way, he went and got him some property. He always said, hey, I can go out and get it anytime I want to. And he did. So you still want to bring up that he's a dusty basement dweller? That's your choice if you want to. The only reason why you say it is because you don't like him. Guess what? We don't really like him that much either. He's not that smart in my eye, but it is what it is. But this whole idea, listen, the only reason why this is a lot of this back and forth going against Sean, but it's because Sean does hold a lot of accountability more towards men. And I understand that thought process because we are going to be the first to be looked at when things go wrong. I get it. It's just maybe just my personal opinion, even though I was raised that way as well. I also had very powerful women, especially my mom's side of the family, very successful independent women who all had 20-year, 40-year marriages of themselves. So it's going to be a little difficult for me to all of a sudden say it's patriarchy. No, they taught me, no. We have just as much power and responsibility as y'all men. So that also means you take some of the accountability of certain things as well. You can't come to me with just a little, oh, my personality is nice. You should just love me and give me all your resources and think I'm just supposed to accept that. Especially when we come to find out, okay, I'm taking all the bills. It's my responsibility. This and that and third. I'm leading. Then come to find out you can't even turn on the stove. You can't even wash a piece of clothing. You can't. What? I'm sorry. Why are you here? I'm here looking for a wife, not a child to take care of. Not a child. Looking for a wife. Carla, as much as I do like her, even though I'm going in on a little bit, I actually do like Carla. She still comes off as a child to me at times. And that's my only issue with her. That's it.
My little piece.
No, we have to let Sean end it because it's 3-on-1, so it's an unfair thing. We're gonna let Sean end it, and we're gonna move to the next one. We'll talk behind the scenes when we're boys, but we're gonna let Sean end it. I know we're gonna move it on. So we're gonna let Sean have the last final word. We're gonna move on to David and Madison as well. Okay, so Sean, please have the last word on this particular aspect.
Yeah, so since we brought up the topic of dismantling patriarchy, what that is not giving men and women the same consequences, but what it is understanding that men and women are different. It's understanding that being a man comes with a certain amount of privilege, and understanding that privilege, and understanding that men and women have very different consequences for the very same actions, and looking to balance the scale, not in terms of making men and women the same, but looking into for men to acknowledge some of the things that women have to go through. And in doing so, understand that that means abdicating some of the power we have as men and holding men accountable for the things that men do in a lot of instances versus excusing it, right? We as men should be using our privilege to call out other men for the things that they do, and be confident and comfortable to say when men are wrong and not look to excuse men's inactions. So that's what I'm doing. You guys can do all the, and I think that's the problem with these kind of conversations. I never say you have to do this, or I think you need to do this, or you do that. I tell you my opinion. I call out what I see from my perspective, and I state what the truth is from my POV. You know, in the last three of your statements, you've all told me what I need to do and what I'm not doing and why I need to have balance. I don't need to have that balance because I don't feel that that's necessary. I think that men need to do more actions to be accountable for their behaviors. And men need to be the ones calling out other men, because when women do it, men don't listen and they make excuses. And that's why I think sometimes we as men, we want to hold on to that little bit of privilege, or a lot of bit of the privilege, depending on what the topic is. So we look for reasons to excuse it. We look for things like stuff in Juan, when we know these behaviors are not anything that I would want my daughter, my wife, or anybody that I care about to have to deal with. So that's the lens that I look through these people with. I look through these people with what I want a woman that I care about in close proximity with a man like that. And then I ask myself, and then I check myself, have I done things like that that are problematic to skate? Yes. So that's when I call it out. You guys can make a different choice, and I respect it, but that's not the choice that I want to make.
Appreciate it. Look, you know what time it is.